What's going on, Packers Nation? Welcome back to another video of Packers Latest. I'm your host, Taylor Bretl, keeping you up to date on everything you need to know on the green and gold Green Bay Packers. A happy Thursday to all of you watching out there. If you're a fan of the Pack, I welcome you back. If you're a fan of Denver, I welcome you here as well. It's a very exciting game upcoming this Sunday. One of the most anticipated games, I feel like, for both sides. It should be a fun one. But before we get into the video, feel free to subscribe, leave a like, turn on a notification bell if you'd like to stay up to date, know when these videos drop live so you can be one of the first to know the latest news with the Green Bay Packers. We're going to start off in this one with the Denver Broncos and their defense, getting a little bit more specific into the pressure department. We talked about their defense last video, but we were pretty broad on it. I'm now looking at the pressure that this Denver defense brings. The highlight of the whole defensive line and the defense in general, the sacks. They have 55 sacks on the season. That is 11 more than the next closest team, which is the Cleveland Browns, who hold 44 in second place. And shout out to Myles Garrett, the NFL's current sacks leader, with 20 of those 44. We're not focusing on the Browns. We're focusing on the Broncos. Once again, 11 more sacks than the next closest team. That is pretty ridiculous. You look at the sacks as well, six of the players have 3 or more sacks that help make up that dominant leading 55. You highlight some of the guys. Nick Bonito has 12.5 sacks. Jonathan Cooper, 7.5 sacks. They're both linebackers for Denver. Defensive end, Zach Allen with 6. Cornerback, Jaquan McMillan with 4. Linebacker Justin Strnad. I don't know how to fully pronounce that. You guys, if you're a Broncos fan or if you know the Broncos well, you can leave that in the comment. Strnad, I believe, is how it's spelled. I want to say Strand, but that wouldn't be correct. Feel free to correct me down below. But nonetheless, linebacker for the Broncos, he has 3.5, and defensive tackle Malcolm Roach has 3. So once again, 6 guys on this Denver team that have 3 or more sacks. That is consistent. That is dominance across the board. And again, 3 of them linebackers, 1 a defensive end, another 1 a defensive tackle, and 1 of them a cornerback. So it's not just all these guys right up on the line getting it. You got all the way back to a corner who has 4. Pretty incredible stuff for this Broncos defense. But with this defense as well, you turn it over to, with all of this pressure, getting all these sacks, you look at the total pressures on a quarterback. They have 143 this season, which is 3rd in the NFL. 52 total quarterback knockdowns, which is 2nd in the NFL. So, even if they're not sacking him, they're getting very close every single time, it feels like. The Broncos also, they've brought a blitz of the quarterback 142 times, which is the 5th most in the NFL. The 4 teams above them in that category, first are the Minnesota Vikings, followed by the Atlanta Falcons, Pittsburgh Steelers, and Tampa Bay Buccaneers. An interesting thing as we get into the next point on Jordan Love and how he handles the blitz, he's been pretty dominant against it. But before we get fully into that, an interesting thing to look at these top 4 teams, one of them being the Vikings in first and the Steelers in third in that category. Jordan Love has played both of those teams already this season, 1 apiece. So has 1 more to go against Minnesota on the road in Week 18. But, it's not like they're going to bring a blitz every single time for both of these games. And the Steelers, a team that they've kind of been struggling a little bit. Vikings have been struggling a lot. Definitely different scenarios than an 11-2, currently on a 10-game winning streak, Denver Broncos. But to look at those 2 teams, Jordan Love, 43 of 58, which is a 74.1 completion percentage for 509 yards and 3 touchdowns. Those are pretty good numbers despite the high level of pressure that those 2 teams have brought. But we're going to look at Jordan Love. Let's go back to last game against the Blitz. This is per PFF on X. They said he finished 9 of 12 against the Blitz, throwing for 171 passing yards and 3 touchdowns, meaning all of his touchdowns in that game were against the Blitz. No interceptions and a 156.3 passer rating. That is pretty darn good if you ask me. I don't really think it can get much better than that. Maybe you can say he could be a perfect 12 for 12, but that's hard to ask from any guy in the NFL. This is per Matt Schneidman on X. Jordan Love's ranks, kind of looking at him overall and then him against the Blitz, really getting more into those numbers on how he is good despite the pressure coming at him quick. He is starting to learn how to make quick decisions, and those quick decisions being smart decisions. Overall, Jordan Love's passer rating ranks 4th in the NFL. His EPA per dropback is 2nd, and his off-target percentage is 4th. When blitzed, passer rating sits at 4th, but the EPA per dropback and the off-target percentage are both the best in the league. They are in 1st. Pretty nice to see from Mr. Love himself. Really good when he gets pressure. But again, this Broncos team, they bring the blitz, they bring the pressure, but it's a whole different level than teams like Minnesota and Pittsburgh, respectfully, just because of the guys that they have on the line for this Denver team. Once again, I'll go back to that sack stat that I've said multiple times, but it still fascinates me. 55 sacks as a team through 13 games, 11 more than the next closest team. Really, really incredible stuff. The last stat on Jordan Love, though, against the blitz, this kind of goes in that realm. This just looks more on when he drops back. Jordan Love leads the NFL in expected points added per dropback at plus 0.22. That comes per Next Gen Stats. They put that out on X. So lots of positives for Jordan Love. It's Toyotathon. There's already positives there within its own. But nice to see he does well against the blitz. He does well against the pressure, which is what Denver is going to bring. Another thing about Jordan Love, he's good at getting the ball away. He's only been sacked 18 times in the Packers' 13 games. I saw an interesting stat as well. So sacked 18 times, 4 interceptions on the season. You combine both of those, that's as many touchdowns as he's had. So he's being really smart with the ball, getting it away when he needs to. But it'll be interesting to see this Denver defense, if they make it a little uncomfortable on him, or with Love having this much success, if he makes it uncomfortable for Denver. But something that's uncomfortable, unfortunately, got to talk about Josh Jacobs. He's dealing with yet a knee injury yet again, looking like that is the same knee that he hurt in New York that had him out for the rest of that game. Josh Jacobs missing the game after that against Minnesota, but bouncing back in games against Detroit and the most recent one against Chicago. Josh Jacobs on this Wednesday injury report was the only Packer that did not practice, once again battling that knee injury. A couple more players to highlight. Marshawn Lloyd, another running back for the Green Bay Packers, been waiting for him to be on the field besides just the one game he's had in his NFL regular season career. He's still dealing with that calf injury, but a limited practice for him. Some rumors if he'd be back against Chicago. He unfortunately was not. Matthew Golden and Dontavian Wicks, they only got 11 total snaps in that game against Chicago, both dealing with some injuries of their own. They both had limited practice. Matthew Golden dealing with that wrist injury, Dontavian Wicks battling that ankle injury. You go to two guys that did not play against Chicago. One of them, Savion Williams, talk about another receiver for this Packers offense. He's still battling that foot injury, but had a limited practice. And Lucas Van Ness also battling a foot injury with a limited practice. It's Wednesday. It's the early report. You really want to get into that Thursday and Friday, really start to figure out the deal with these guys later in the week. But definitely some stuff to highlight in there, especially Jacobs. I mean, this guy deserves a rest for what he's done and what he's played through, but it's really tough when you have 4 weeks left and you have an opponent like Denver. You really want all your guys in there, but you also want to be smart. You don't want to hurt any of your guys. So you got to play it safe. Manuel Wilson has shown a lot what he can bring for the Packers if Jacobs was out. But again, that's just Wednesday's report. It's early in the week. There is plenty of time to see the official news on what that will result in. Closing it out, kind of transitioning a little bit off topic from the game. Want to touch on the Pro Bowl. Make sure to vote for your Packers. There are so many ways you can vote. You can vote maybe unlimited. There's got to be a cap in some way, but you can vote a lot for the Green Bay Packers in the Pro Bowl. Going to go over where the Pro Bowl voting stands. This is per Rob Domofsky on X. This is as of December 8th, so a little dated, but he tweeted out, position by position where some Green Bay Packers rank. I'll try to go through it quick because this Packers team is 9-3-1. They've been very good this season, so they're going to have a lot of guys in the top 10 per position for a Pro Bowl. Center, Sean Ryan sits at 4th. Guard, Aaron Banks at 8th. Tackle, Zach Tom at 6th. Quarterback, Jordan Love at 7th. Running back, Josh Jacobs, 8th. Wide receiver, Romeo Doubs, 9th. Go to the defensive side. Defensive end, Micah Parsons 1st. Not shocked about that one. Another defensive end, Rashawn Gary sitting in 7th. Defensive tackle, Devontae Wyatt in 10th. Unfortunately, he's going to drop out of that list as he is done for the season. Inside linebacker, Edgerrin Cooper in 8th. Free safety, Evan Williams 5th. Strong safety, Xavier McKinney 5th. And strong safety, Javon Bullard 9th. Go to special teams. Long snapper, Matthew Orzek 2nd. Shout out to him. Let's get him one spot higher. Punter, Daniel Whelan. Whelan's been dealing. He sits at 4th. Return specialist, Savion Williams at 8th. And special teams player Evan Williams, just one shy of first place. He is in second. So neat to see a lot of Packers on that list. Some lower than others, but this is the voting as a whole. So this includes AFC and NFC. That wasn't NFC only. Meant to touch on that before I read through some of those names. But hey, some of your Packers are high on that list, but some could use a couple of bump ups. So make sure to vote for your Green Bay Packers. You can find out how to do it online. I'd give you the spiel here, but I know there's so many ways they're doing it now, and I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. So you can make sure to look that up. I think on X, you can now retweet stuff, maybe some of the Packers posts that have hashtag Pro Bowl, something like that, and it counts as well. Not fully sure. Make sure to do it. I will make sure to look it up after this video and vote for myself for all of these guys for this Packers team that has been very fun to watch this season, that we hope can continue to play some fun football all the way, hopefully through a Lombardi trophy, but we cannot get ahead of ourselves. Got the Denver Broncos coming up on Sunday. But that's all I got for this video of Packers latest. I appreciate you guys tuning in as always. We're just a couple days away from another exciting high stakes game day. And as always, go Pack Go.